Hello friends, welcome to today's daily devotion. We're continuing to look at Romans chapter 14 and exploring what Paul has to say when we have cultural differences and how we should respond to one another about those differences. Today we're reading Romans 14 starting in verse 5 and reading through verse 9. Hear now these words. Again, one person considers some days to be more sacred than others, while another considers all days to be alike. Everyone ought to be fully convinced in their own mind. The person who observes a day observes it to the master's honor. They, again, who eat meat, eat it to the master's honor. For they give thanks to God, while the person who abstains from it to the master's honor, and also gives thanks to God. There is not one of us whose life concerns ourselves alone, and not one of us whose death concerns ourselves alone. For if we live, our life is for the master, and if we die, our death is for the master. Whether we live or die, we belong to the master. The purpose for which Christ died and came back to life was this, that he might be Lord over both the dead and the living. How often do we hear that it's a matter of life and death when it comes to different things, and the reality is that whatever's going on has nothing whatsoever to do with life or death at all. Paul is dealing with those this week, food and days. They would use certain days to claim that, well, this needs to be the feast day for this, or this needs to be the feast day for that. And others were saying, well, no, you don't need to worry about this or that or the other. It's just every day is the same kind of day. And they were letting these cultural values so color their engagement with one another that they were refusing to accept one another within those differences. And so they were emphasizing or prohibiting these things, and none of those equal death. So Paul says, quit acting like they are. So what is really important here? Did you catch it? The master's honor. Paul talks about that over and over again. It's the master's honor. Are you doing or are you not doing for Jesus? Or are you doing or not doing for yourself? Are you looking at the others that are doing or not doing for Jesus? Or are you doing it for yourself? Well, let me give you a hint that I think is the same hint that Paul is giving. If self is part of this, then perhaps we need to think again. Jesus, he is the master. He is the Lord of life and the Lord of death. So even if it is a matter of life and death, it still belongs to him and not to us. So think about that as you live your life today. And I'll see you tomorrow for another daily devotion.